Gatlin, born in 1982. And then another up-and-coming man, the 20-year-old from Canada, Andre De Grasse. Double wins in the American Collegiate Championships. Double win also in the Pan American Games. He's run 9.95 and 9.75 with wind assistance. De Grasse completes a stellar lineup for this fantastically anticipated race for the 100 meters title in the World Championships. We've heard tremendous roar from the crowd in greeting these athletes, and it'll go down to silence very, very shortly. Eyes peeled towards the start of the 100 meters. Vico, Sue, Brumell, Rogers, Bolt, Gay, Gatlin, Powell, De Grasse. Usain Bolt in 5 with the former champions Gay and Gatlin outside him in lanes 6 and 7, the 100 meters final. What sort of start will he get? Well, certainly a tremendous start by Gatlin further out, and Bolt into his stride now. Those two coming clear of the field now, and it's Gatlin and Bolt. And who's going to win it? It's very close, but it's the great man, I think. It's Bolt who's taken it from Gatlin. He's found the speed when he needs it. Who could almost doubt it? We knew it would be close. It was close, but the clock is showing 9.79, and Bolt is celebrating, and Gatlin has to yield for the first time for a couple of years.
That is arguably the greatest victory we've seen from Bolt, because it's the first time he's come into a major global final, not been the favourite, and been under huge, huge pressure. You knew he was going to win at 50 metres because his start was okay. It's never a brilliant start, but it was good enough that he was in the hunt, and Gatlin felt the pressure.
Yeah, Gatlin felt the pressure on the last 20 metres or so, because Bolt was there on his shoulder. The first time this year maybe that Gatlin's had anybody close to him, and it wasn't just anybody, it was Usain Bolt.
And the time's gone up on the screen, and Bolt has just seen that, and it's 100th of a second margin. No one's got that close to him in a major race, but it doesn't matter the distance because Bolt has won it. We're just waiting for the photo to separate who was third.
Fantastic runner. I'd like to see that race again, because at the end, I think you can see Gatlin overstriding in the last 5 or 6 metres of that race, desperately trying to lunge for the line, but in the end, it was no question. Bolt won it almost convincingly.
And what a brilliant bronze for De Grasse, a lifetime best, 9.92. He's had a fabulous season, a little bit of an outside bet in the outside lane. No one was talking about De Grasse, and he has delivered in style. But Usain Bolt, I suspect, might look back on this gold medal, if not equal to his Olympic titles, then maybe just behind it, because this was the one that many people thought he might lose. He is a great, great champion, and once again, he's underlined his status as the greatest sprinter in history. Cometh the hour, cometh the Jamaican. He is unstoppable.
Oh,
and in fact, we heralded De Grasse. They've given a tie for the bronze. Both De Grasse and Brumell on 9.92, ahead of Rogers' 9.94. Well, Bolt's third title at 100 metres, and he joins Carl Lewis and Maurice Greene as 3-time world 100-metre champions.
Well, as you say, Rob, I think he is really, really pleased with this. It's not been a great season for him. He struggled a little bit with injury, but to come back and to keep the crowd, I think that race, as you said, was showing the calibre of the man. It really was. Marvellous run. Watch again. He got up, didn't get a great start, really, but it was a good start. That's the thing. And you can see at this point of the race, Gatlin, I think, knows he's in trouble. He's starting to overstride, and watch the last 20 metres or so. Look, he's fumbling, he's going all over the place, the arms are not stretching, and he knows when he looked across there that he'd lost it.
You knew at 50 metres Bolt was going to win. And it's the first time this season that Justin Gatlin has been put under pressure. He's had an almost unmatchable series of sub-9.8s. He's been brilliant this year, and it's not as if he completely crumbled in this final, because he ran 9.80, but he made 9.77 in the semi-final look a lot easier than that. He was tight, he was tense, he knew what was at stake, and maybe that's what marks Usain Bolt out above the others, that even though he knows how much is on the line, he still somehow manages to find it and never folds to the pressure.
And a little bit more on those times as well, because there was a little headwind there, 0.5 meters per second. If you turned it around the other way, that would have been perhaps a hundredth of a second quicker. So that just shows just how high quality that run by Bolt was. And indeed, Gatlin's running still the same sort of time that he has been running all year. But he found the master. Just that little bit, but only 100th of a second. Just that little bit better.
But if you look at how easy he was with his 9.77 in the semi-final, it shows you exactly what pressure can do come the big occasion. Great performances. We're obviously talking a lot about Bolt and Gatlin. Brilliant performances from Trayvon Bromell. It's only his first senior season, and he's taken the bronze medal, as has De Grasse of Canada, with a lifetime best. So there will be 4 men on the podium, 1 Jamaican, 2 Americans, and a Canadian as well.
Well, another interesting fact, you can see Asaf Appel did not break 10 seconds, Peter. He still lives on that 99.
Well, we are seeing in some events a slight changing of the guard. And in fact, you've got the 2 20-year-olds sharing the bronze medal. OK, Bolt and Gatlin are older, but Gay was 6th, Powell was 7th. So the former top men of the sprint a few years back were well beaten.
The headlines have already been written for tomorrow, and now the reggae music begins around the Olympic Stadium, just as it did here in 2008 when he won his first global crown over 100 meters. This wasn't as quick and his winning margin wasn't as big, but I think the significance of this victory cannot be overemphasized. Coming in here as the underdog with a really poor performance in the semi-finals by his own high standards, and yet in spite of that and the injuries and the difficult run into the championship, it is Bolt who finishes yet another championship and yet another season as the #1 at 100 meters. He is, without question, the greatest of all time.
It was only 1/100th of a second, but actually it looked a lot more clearer than that, really, didn't it? He was dominating over that last 50 meters or so. Gatlin was folding. The pressure got to him, I think, at about 50 meters, as you said, Rob. He was just tensing up, Gatlin. He wasn't looking relaxed like he was in the semi-final. He knew that the big man was there, and that was all that mattered.
And actually, the winning margin is irrelevant, isn't it? Even if it had been tied on time and it had been a dip on the line, it's the measure of the man to beat someone who's in the form of his life. And we have to say that about Gatlin. With so many sub-9.8s, he's never been running better. And he still couldn't beat him.
Well, Bolt had everything to lose, didn't he, really? But in the end, he got everything he wanted from that.
Well, there it is, lovely head-on shot. Gatlin possibly still in the lead, but here he comes. Gatlin really struggling there.
Gatlin's form really deteriorated over that last 20 meters or so. And that cost him the race.
A brilliant, brilliant win, given the season he's had.
But he hasn't raced that much. That's the other thing, Peter, has he? He hasn't done many at all.
He certainly has not. He started with a beach 100 meters in Rio, and then he came, of course, and ran in London and did pretty well, 9.87. But then had to go back for training. And he's had 1 200-meter outing as well. It's a very, very thin season. It's not the ideal preparation by any means. But he's shown he can overcome it.
Well, we've still got the 200 meters to go. That should be quite an interesting race after this, shouldn't it?
And you can argue he's going to be better in the 200 meters. But Gatlin, 19.57 this season, 19.68 this season. Bolt hasn't got anywhere near that. But then he was nowhere near 9.74, which was Gatlin's season's best over the 100 meters. And in the end, it didn't matter. A once-in-a-generation athlete.
Well, the crowd have been waiting for that.
And incidentally, if you're wondering how that camera's actually doing that shot, there's a cameraman on a Segway, one of those crazy two-wheel upright motorbikes. I think Bolt was wanting him to move, actually, and get out the way.
Well, just look at his form then throughout the race on this head-on shot, just concentrating on Bolt. Head down nicely. He got a decent start by his standards, didn't he? And then the power really was switched on here. Very focused, very determined, knew he had to run all out.
The key was he didn't get a bad start, which meant he wasn't that extra half yard behind Gatlin at 50 metres. Wonderful moments for the Chinese who've remained in the stadium. A great, great race and a great night.
The result of the men's 100 metres, gold to Usain Bolt in 9:79, silver to Justin Gatlin in 9.